Hello, welcome along to another virtual workshop live here today. Oh, look how much my nail varnish clashes with that wrapping. Never mind. I'm just going to make sure I've got a live feed. Let me just check the tech stuff and then we'll get started. Just waiting for that to come through on my screen. Check it is. The connection's working. Let's go on. There we go. Wonderful. Welcome. This is the mystery kit, the mystery workshop. So part of today's craft along event, we have 3 virtual workshops, and this one, no one knows what's inside. Oh, I do. So I have designed a brand new card, gone a little bit wacky as well, not the conventional card. And I have made the kits and sent out to all the people who booked onto this course, and they have got their mystery kit all wrapped up just like this. I thought I'd wrap this one up as well, just so I can give myself the excitement of opening it. So the craft along kit comes in a big box with all the craft kits you need for today's workshops, including this one. So I'm intrigued to know, have you unwrapped your kit yet? To see what we're going to be making. So if you are watching along live, do say hello in the comments and let me know that you can hear me. Just I'm nervous using this new equipment. I like to have the reassurance that you can hear me, see me, and it's all good. I do think the video was, so the previous workshop, there are patches of the video. I think the connection goes and the video gets a bit pixelated, which is frustrating when you're crafting. So I might look at doing some step-by-step pictures as well, something else can go alongside, or trying to work out to get our Wi-Fi boosters to work. It always seems to be a pain in the kitchen. Let me just straighten up this craft mat because that will annoy me. There we go. So shall we open up? So in here, so I won't show you the finished card yet, but I'm going to open this up. I've actually opened up one of my own kits before. So in this kit, it's very colourful. Look at that. In this kit, we have got, so we've got the envelope, which we won't need today. And then we've got the card blank, which has a chunk taken off of it. And then we've got some spotty paper or card, thin card, lilac. We've got lots of white bits. All of them will be very useful. So we've got 6 little strips, 1 big strip, and then we've got a happy birthday. And then we've got a selection of flowers. We've got the yellow flower centres. We've got the orange, the pink, purple, the leaves, some red flowers and a blue flower. So I guess you can imagine we're going to be cutting out these flowers. I wonder if you can work out how you expect the card to actually be structurally made. It's going to be a fun one. Let me just clear this out of the way. And then, so this is the advanced version of this kit. So if you've got the advanced version, you'd have got all these pieces just like this, down there. And you'll also have one of these silver pens. You'll have ink all the way to the end, whereas this is my one, and I've been using it. Much loved. The ink's running out, but yes, so you'll have a silver glitter pen. And then if you've got the beginner's kits, then you'll have everything in here will be, all the flowers will be cut out, ready for you, and decorated with some silver. So you'll be able to see that. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make this card from this advanced version all the way through, and then the sort of beginner's version will step in partway through today's workshop. So if you've got the beginner's kit, you can take it easy, grab a cup of tea, and catch up as it goes along. Or if you're watching this on the replay, then feel free to fast forward a little bit. Just chill out with me. I've got some cutting out to do. But first off, should we have a look at what the finished card looks like? So I'm going to do the drum roll, but it's on my own. So this is what the finished card will be. So you've got the flowers as expected. I wonder if you can catch the silver decoration on the leaves, on the petals. It's very pretty. And so it actually stands up. This is very difficult to show you on a flat one. So it actually opens up like that and will stand up like that. So I don't think there is an angle that I can properly show that, but I will take some proper photos of the kit to post on my social media pages. So we're sort of creating this lattice on the front, a bit like a garden fence kind of feel, which if you wanted to, you could sort of make it look more like a fence and put these pieces on the front and angle them. But that's up to you. But I'm going to keep it to this design today. It's got a nice strong base where all the flowers can be stuck on, but it's lovely the way it kind of reaches over into the gaps and gives you that sort of negative space and shapes around. It's beautiful. So I have been admiring this on my desk for the last couple of weeks. And I'm looking forward to making this with you today. I have, at this current time, I have no plans for this to be like made into a kit available to buy on my website. However, if you are watching this live or nearly live, so this weekend in March 2023, then what I have done is I've released the craft along kit for all of today's workshops. I've put 2 more on my shop. So I did close the sales for those a few weeks ago, but I have reopened them with just 2. I've got 2 left. I've got 2 frames left. And you can order it as part of the whole craft along kit. So you'll get all 3 projects today. So that, in theory, unless I change my mind, that will be your only opportunity to buy this card as a kit. And plus it might come back in this form, but in a different, this style, but in a different color pattern, because obviously I've made this for the craft along specifically, without thinking long term. So should we get started? So you can still see that. So we've got a little bit of cutting out to do, so time to chill out. And I'll get my pair of small sharp scissors and cut around these. So all of my kits, not all of my kits, I guess, but most of my kits do have an element of cutting out. To be honest, I find it really therapeutic. I'll quite often, actually, let me just bring this down while I'm cutting out. You can get a little bit of a closer view. As I said, most of the time when I'm cutting out, I take a tray. A tray of bits and pieces and some scissors, and I'll curl up on the sofa in the evening and cut out while watching TV. I quite often don't actually see much of the TV because I'm concentrating, but I enjoy listening. So I'm going to cut out all of these. So I've got a small pair of sharp scissors, worth investing in a good pair of craft scissors, because you can really get the shapes a lot easier than the big sort of, I say kitchen scissors, but even ours are like, kitchen ones are like the sort of IKEA mid-size ones. So I've got so we've got 6 flower centers. So I'm just cutting around the black edge. So I'm trying to keep all the black onto the center. don't know if this is having a mare with the autofocus. Should be fine. And I'm going to leave that now. And then for the flowers, so I've cut these, so it's all the same flower stamp, but I cut them out slightly differently. So you see from here, some of them, my left and rights are reversed on the image, apologies. So for some of them I keep, actually I think it's just these two, isn't it? The blue. I can't, let me look at my eyes, not look at the screen. So the red and the blue, I cut out entirely, and then the other ones I just cut out the middle flower. So I will cut around here. So again, a good top tip for the cutting out is to turn the card and keep the scissors in the same place, but when you're rotating it round, move the card rather than moving it. And also you'll notice that I cut off the section of card every time I get to the end, and that saves having a lot of card getting in the way, which can pull against the, like here, so it can get in the way of the scissors and just pulls against it, so it's nice just to get rid. It's also very satisfying to do the snipping out to the edge. There we go. I've just got a message on my laptop. Let's check it's not a problem. So battery life, energy saver turned on. It's plugged in. Shouldn't need that, but hopefully if you let me know that you can still hear me, it still looks like it's running live on my screen. Hopefully it doesn't decide it doesn't have enough power. And okay, and then the pink one, we're going to cut out the smaller flower as well. So also you can mix and match what flowers you want to have, large or small. You can have them all large. You can start with them all large and change your mind and then cut off the extra petals. That's absolutely fine. That's why I like the versatility of the advanced kits, is that I always include like a whole stamped image, so that you've got my battery. Oh, hang on a sec. There we go. The lead had actually been loosened and come away from the laptop. So it is now charging. Phew. Glad I spotted that. So yeah, so the advanced kits always include like the whole stamped image, so you've got a bit more flexibility of what you choose to cut out and what you choose to keep. You might be able to use some things for other projects as well. So now Vash goes well with this card. There we go. Focus is choosing to focus on the bottom. That's fine. And then orange, we're going to do small. And so I've got a fun day of crafting with you. We've got 3 workshops running today, which I'm looking forward to creating. And then as soon as my kids get back from school, I'm switching to crafting with them. It's coincided with a project for my son in year 7 to make a coastline, but like the features of a coast, so like a cliff head with a bay and an arch or a stack in the sea. So we've made the model with cardboard boxes all kind of taped together haphazardly, and then the plan for today is to cover it all with paper mache. So I will be probably destroying these beautiful nails by 4 o'clock this afternoon probably. Right, so the blue one I'm going to cut out the whole flower and keep it large. So I haven't done paper mache for many years. I think actually I remember doing, I think I've done a few projects with the kids, but not many. But going back, I feel like I spent all of my childhood with paper mache. And then I did a A level, and that was when we kind of switched to the plaster bandage, I think it was called, isn't it? So we were sort of making wire sculptures and then covering it with plaster bandage. I think it's a lot more satisfying because it really works well, should I say. I think paper mache is a bit more hit and miss in terms of how sticky it is. I also don't know if I've got enough PVA glue. It's not something I use for my crafting. So considering using the flour and water option, which I don't know. I'm a bit feel a bit skeptical. If there's any paper mache connoisseurs out there, let me know. Right, so that's the large blue, and then let's do the red. And I'm sure I won't be able to resist sharing some pictures of the finished one later. Well, maybe, yeah. So we've got paper mache it today, let it dry, paint it on Sunday evening, I think. Maybe Monday, because he's got to take it into school on Tuesday. No, we've not got long. Right, so finish cutting out this one. Deb says sound video great. So maybe it has improved. That's good to know. Right, okay, and then the final red one is going to be a small red one. It's this one up here. So I'm going to cut this out. The smaller version of the flower. It looks like it's brightened up a bit here. This morning was pouring with rain and bits of snow. It does seem, I think the rain stopped here now. I'm guessing, Deborah, you're still Very snowed in, but not not quite snowed in, but got plenty of snow where you are. I think we've been quite lucky in the south. Go. Right then, I'm just going to put these on here. And a little break. Looks so cute. And let's do the leaves. These are lovely shape to cut out. It's a nice big swoop. And then 3 little leaves. Nearly there, and we can crack on with the assembly. I will just add the silver decoration once we've cut these out. So what I will do before we assemble the card, I might just mention the different dimensions of all the bits of card I've got here. So if you wanted to create this with your own cardstock, you are more than welcome to. And you can use any sort of flower and leaf stamp or like decoupage sheets you could cut out just to add some decoration. And then just finishing up on these. The colour, you can see here is that how colourful the rubbish is. There we go. Right, let me just clear this. Oh, it's so beautiful. I should make it into some confetti. Let me just add that into my recycling bag. Okay. So we've got the silver pen. Now we'll start with, let me move this up again so you can see what I'm doing. I'll get it straight. There we go. Alright, so on the happy birthday, to start off with, so you'll see on this font, this is actually printed, this one. Ooh, not stamped. Come on, you can focus. Trying to keep really still. No. Oh, fighting a losing battle. Okay, so I think you can see it, even though it's slightly blurry, is that this text has like a highlight already on it, which is really handy because what we're going to do is draw over that highlight with the silver pen. It doesn't have to be too neat. And you've got that as a guide. So it looks the same at sort of most angles, but when the light catches it, it makes it. I wonder if I can get that so you can see the glamour. So just follow along where the highlights are. Now this pen, what I have found with this pen is that at any point it can dry. It takes a couple minutes to dry, but still at any point, if you rub it, the silver will come off on your hands. It stays still quite silvery on the cardstock, but it just loses that sort of top level shine. So I just generally find once I'm using it on these projects, I'll try and not handle it too much afterwards. And definitely don't see if it's dry by rubbing it. It doesn't smudge, as I say. It doesn't smudge. It just the extra sparkle comes off in your hands. So for the flowers, for the little flowers, I'm just going to draw over the little 3 lines on each petal. So it doesn't have to be too neat. Be a little bit haphazard. You can go over, just giving that, bringing that sparkle on. Let's see if I can hold that up to show you. Will it catch it? Ooh, so we need to get it in focus and catching the light. That might be too much to ask. So I'll just quickly do the others. Down. Yeah. And then for the larger ones, I'm still going to do that same marking on the small petals, but we're going to add some more bling to it as well. Just do this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I wonder if I can catch it on there, is to draw these curved lines on each of the outer petals. So straight lines I'm doing, so you can experiment, you can do straight lines or dots or patterns or swirls, whatever. It's kind of like a subtle doodling onto these. But what I'm going to do is draw a straight line which mirrors the shape of the petal above. And then I'm going to rotate it around and do the same direction on the next petal. So you create that kind of circular, and then just said my ink was running out on this. Yeah, it's got some in there though. There we go, it's back. Okay, so if your pen's being stubborn, just go back and forth a couple of times and get the ink flowing again. There we go. Pick this up. You're not going to play ball. Nope. And then I might be able to see it easier on the red as well. So for the red, again, we're going to do these angled petals. Let's go that way. So I'm getting about 4 or 5 lines on each petal. Go, and that's all we need to do with the pen. So just let's put all of these to one side so that we can get on with the assembly of the card. So this is where you would start from the beginner's kit. You'd have all these bits already prepped for you. What a treat. And then let's take the card. So you'll see it on the back. So I've adapted the card blank. So it's got the logo at the base. I'll pick up some dust along the way. So the idea is that the card will open like that upwards and the logo on the back. So put this together. Let me get my ruler out and I'll just explain. So this is a 6x6 inch card blank. It was originally. I think they're sort of called that, but they're not actually. Yeah, they're slight. I think the envelopes are 6x6, so they're slightly less. So if you're making it just with cardstock, you'll need slightly less than 6x6. And then what I do is I leave 2.5 inches attached and then remove everything that's left. The block that's left, I then cut this piece, which is 1 inch wide and is the same height as the card blank. These pieces actually come from other cards as well, so they're not. If you can do it from the same card material, that's great. Ours is a bit of a mix and match because there's not enough from what you remove. But these are 6 ones, and they are, if I remember rightly, half 1 inch wide. And then I keep them at 4 inches wide, but they just need to be wide enough to cover that gap. So they're quite generous. We just need some space to cut them. There we go. So first things first, let's lay these out. On here. So I'm going to bring this up so you can see. So I'm going to space these out. I know that I've got a little gap on the edge. And then I want to lay them side by side and try and see what I need to do to get them to have an even gap in between each one. So I mean, you can do it's just done by eye. Not a huge problem if it's not uniform. And then just double check that you bring that down and that covers the end, and that when you put that on top, all the ends are covered. And then I'm going to show you a little trick on the best way to stick these down. Don't knock them. Come here. So using this piece of card, which is for the back of the happy birthday, because that is the right size to go on top there, it's also the right size to be a nice template. So if you lay it on inside, you can leave a little gap at the top because it's not going to be flush. And then what we're going to do is draw a line across here so that we know where we can put glue. Basically, we're sort of giving ourselves a guide. So if you just bend that down, double check that it definitely covers the purple paper. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more. There we go. And so these bits along the bottom, so I'm aiming to keep them in line, not to the edge, but I'm aiming to keep them in line. I've got to stop knocking that. So they are in here, they are visible. So you can keep in mind to keep them in line there, just to make it a little bit neater. And let me just line this up again because I knocked it. Probably not the best sleeves to wear for this. There we go. And then I'm going to grab a pencil and hold that firmly down. I'm just going to make a little line on the edge. Doesn't have to be too accurate, and I don't want to get a line, any marks on the purple paper. But that is fine. And then going to lift off the purple paper. Hopefully you can see. I feel like I'm working under the flap hidden, but you can see that. And while they're all in place, I'm going to put some glue onto the end of these. I'm going to use this wet glue, glossy accents, because it gives me a little bit of chance to move things around. But when it dries, it is very strong. So if you wanted to do it with double-sided tape or a glue runner, you could mark them up. You'd probably have to take it off, glue them all up, and then lay them back down in this position. So this is our last chance to get these lined up. And remember, this glossy accents takes a little bit of time to cure, so I'll just stall for a few seconds, and then we will bend this down carefully, and we're going to stick all of them at the same time and just hold it there gently while it gets a chance. And then if you've knocked any, now's your time to shuffle them around, but they all look straight to me. Hold those down and then they all stuck down. So you can flip it over and just give it a little bit more pressure to make sure you're happy they're all stuck. There we have it. Right, now for this one, we'll place the base on here. So if you've got something heavy and clean, just looking around me to see what I've got my phone. There we go. So I'm just going to place it on there. I'll just keep it under control, and I'm going to place this on top. So what we want to do is, what's important is to get this edge to match up with the back of the card blank, because that keeps it a card. Otherwise you can have it wonky and off tilt. So that needs to be lined up there. But once you've got it lined up, I want you just to move it down 0.5 centimetre, and then do a similar thing again of just marking gently on there. Don't worry about drawing a straight line against the card, because that will leave a pencil mark on this piece. But you can double check that you've covered up your line marks like that, and if you haven't, you just rub them out and do it again. But now that gives you a clear guide of where to put the glue on each. It might be me being a bit pedantic. You could just glue and go, you know where it goes. But I like to be confident that everything's going, especially when you're doing a live video. It's a pain when it goes wrong. So I'm going to add a bit more of this glue to each of those. And I'm just going to wait a few seconds to let that go. Let that cure. Try not to get too distracted. That's the problem I get. It's like, I think, oh, I'll just pick up my phone, I'll have a look at this while I wait for that to cure. And then all of a sudden it's like 10 minutes has passed and it's completely solid and it won't glue. I want a little bit of time, so I don't want it to smudge, like squeeze out, make a mess. So now we're ready to stick this on. I'm going to line it up with the edge of the card first. So I'm not fussed about where it's sticking yet. I just want to make sure the edge is right, and then I can fold it down. Lift it gently so I don't squeeze any glue out onto the back of the card, although we are covering that up, so it's not a huge problem. There we go. So that is now all glued in place. Right, I can move my phone out of the way now. Okay. So the bits of purple card. So this one on top here. So that one is designed to fit in that top section with a nice equal border around the outside. Mine's slightly off from top to bottom, but I'm just going to make sure it's in the centre. It's got a slightly wider gap on the side, but that's fine. So I'm going to stick that down with double-sided tape. This is a glue roller, stick it roller, and it just sort of dispenses double-sided tape, which is a massive time saver. That one there. Go. And then this piece gives us that nice bit in the background. So on the inside, I'm going to place it on there. So at this point, you can, I've given you quite a lot here. You can trim this down and give yourself more room to write if you want to write there. You could do another panel of white card to write on top here, it'd be nice, but you want to be, if you want the words to be out of sight, or you can write on the back. So I'm going to stick this down, double-sided tape. Bit in the middle for extra. So I realise I'm working way off the screen there, apologies. So this time I'm aiming for a even gap on the bottom and the sides. There we go. It's looking so lovely and crisp and white. And then let's add the happy birthday onto the top. Double-sided tape on the back. Stick to my fingers. And again, sort of looking for an even top, bottom and sides on this one. It's not slightly oblong, so it's very different. Wide at the sides. I'm going to stick that down carefully because of the silver pen, so I'm not swiping it across. And then, so I'm going to follow the pattern that I've done on here. So again, this is now where you can let your own creativity kick in, and you can arrange the flowers however you like on the front, and just pay attention to where you're going to stick them. So if you need to make sure you've got enough space underneath it to stick each one. I'm going to follow this design, but feel free to adapt it in any way you see fit. So let me just put that there so you can see that as well. So for this design, I've got the red, both reds, the pink and the purple are on foam pads, so they're lifted up. No, this way around. So disconcerting with the with the video being reversed. So we'll lift those up. So in your kit you'll have some foam pads. This is nice. So these are double-sided and they're foamy, so they'll raise things off. These ones are slightly too big. They're oblong ones and they're slightly too big for these flowers, so I'm going to cut them in half. I'm going to cut them while they're still stuck on the backing sheets, and that limits how much sticky Apologies, the sticky stuff gets onto the scissors. And I'm going to add to the back of the flower. And this one. So you don't need foam pads to go up all into the petals, you just need one in the middle. And pink. Cut this one in half. Go. And then actually, while we've got these here, I'm going to add the centres to all the flowers. Nice easy task. So again, going to use the Glossy Accents glue, and I'm not going to try and put glue onto the yellow centres. I'm going to add glue to where I know they're going to go. So I'm just going to add a blob to each one of these. That means you're in a lot more control and you're not trying to sort of lower things down with wet glue at the risk of dropping them and making a mess. So I'm going to let that cure for a little bit, a few seconds. I will add these on. So I'm just going to drop them on. Because this glue stays wet for a little while, you've got a little bit of time to play. Like that one, needs to be shifted back a bit. There we go. And they'll be dry in a few seconds. So now I can start looking at layering up. So I've kept this large leaf pointing into the corner of the card. In fact, I know that's going to go this one. Actually, I'll show you how to lay it up first. And then I'll have a leaf going there. I quite like that one going off the edge. One there. So we'll pay attention to that orange flower. The sort of centre of it isn't on the card. So we're going to have to be mindful when we're gluing that. We're only going to be able to glue it on one side. And then this nice big blue one's got lots of card behind it to stick that one on. And then the pink. That one there. So that one. Not room for these. So you need to make sure where you've got the foam pads on the backs of these flowers, you need to be able to make sure you can stick them onto the card. Bouncy. Wonderful. So once you're happy with the layout that you've played around with, it can be a good time for this one to take a photo of how you've laid it out, because then you can refer back to it when you're gluing things on and you sort of get an idea of, oh yeah, that one is right to the edge, or that one is going over the purple one, or that one is that. So it's handy when you're sticking it together. I've got this one to copy, so I'm okay. So I'm going to take off the ones that I know don't go on first, and then I'm going to start gluing these down. So because it's quite a thick card, I might put a little bit towards the end of this one, but it doesn't need to be completely coated in glue, because the fact that it's card, as long as it's got one anchor point, it will stay. One Just careful of where these go. So if you're unsure about how much glue, because I think I put glue too far down the base of this one, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to push it down flat onto the card and risk getting any glue under here. In fact, you could even put some scrap paper underneath. And I'm just going to make sure it's actually fine. Just press that down. I'm hoping the mic's not picking up my rumbling tummy. I am obviously ready for lunch. And then I'm going to stick this one here. So keep an eye on where the edge of the card is. I know you can't, I can see it through this piece of scrap paper. You probably can't see it on the video, but make sure that the leaves aren't going over, because you want to be able to fit it into your envelope. And then so this one where it becomes quite nice, if you look at where it's going to be and then just glue on the card. Just gently hold that in place, and then this blue flower. So I'm working off this camera again. This blue flower is on the base of the card, so I can add glue to that without much fear of it overgoing. And it is check the back. I mean, this glue does dry clear and shiny, so it will be visible on the other side, but not it won't look ugly. So I'm just going to put the peel off the backing of this one. That's gone over, because I can tell because it's attached to the scrap paper. Let's have a look. Okay, so I've got, oh, let me show you. So I've gone over slightly. So what I'm going to do is just pick that bit off. Simple as that. So you can pick that bit off. If you're worried about it being sticky, I would recommend just using a little bit of scrap paper or card to just stick over the top of that, or just prod it a few times with your finger, because it kind of takes the stickiness away and it won't stick there. And down, and let's peel off the backing of this one. Maybe I'll be a bit more careful this time. There we go. And then I'm just going to lay these on and then add this. Actually, I'll tell you what, I might add that leaf on last. I'll show you a trick on adding that on. So let's start with the pink. And again, I don't want these to go too high and come over. That's fine. And in the backing of this one. And then add this one onto here. So adding this leaf onto here. So if I there, it hits the foam tape pad underneath. So it's a little bit frustrating. It always looks a little bit like it's hanging off the edge. So if that happens, you can trim down the end of the leaf, Oh, apologies, my stomach is rumbling. So you can trim it off and then it'll go further in. It looks a bit more, I say natural, I know they're all cartoon flowers, but it feels like you did stick it underneath. And if you're happy with that, or you can go a little bit further and cut off some more, but I think I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to add some glue to the back of this leaf. So I'd only add glue to the back part of this leaf because I'm going to push it under. If glue is on the top, it potentially will smudge the glue on the way in and make a mess, but that will be enough to hold it in place. And there's no risk of any smudging on the way. So there we have it. Let me just put the lid on this before I can't use it next time. Take away the scrap paper. So there we have the mystery kit. So it needs, it's so a shame I can't show it to you like properly upright on this video, but I'll get some photos. Although the glass mat is not a kind surface, so it needs a little bit of friction to stand. The glass mat's a little bit too shiny for it to work. So that is our mystery kit. So like I say, this is the craft along kit for today. It's not, there's no plans for it to be added to my shop as a standalone kit, but you can still order the craft along kit. I've got 2 more available on my website if you act quickly this weekend. But yes, that would be fab to have you join along. So we had to do all 3 projects that we're doing today in either the beginner's kit or the advanced kit. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you do make this card with different cardstock, with your own design, your own ideas, but you like to experiment with that sort of open front version, do let me know and send me your pictures. If fab, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Just search Della by Design, or you can email me, which is della@dellabydesign.co.uk. And it'll be fab to connect with you and see what you've been making. I'd love to see your crafty projects. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. And there's one more live workshop today at 2 o'clock. Or if you're in the future, you'll find the video for it. And I need to go and have some lunch before the next video because my stomach is not happy. But yes, thank you ever so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.